So this will be a video going through every hand that I played to win an $11 MTT on Pokerstars earlier this week. I'll just be going through every single hand. There are 522 of those, and we'll take a look at all the decisions that I made throughout, and we'll also talk about if maybe there are mistakes and stuff in there. So we'll jump right in. And obviously the first hand we can see we got 10-4. You're just going to skip through these hands where I don't do anything, so 10-4 is a fold. And then so here, King 10 offsuit. I think this is a close spot between opening and just folding. I'm not sure which I do. I don't think either of them is really that special. Let's see. Fold. I mean, it's fine. If we're one position closer, I think we might go for it. If we're one further away, we definitely fold. So I think it's right in the middle there. I think it's fine to just give up there. Obviously, we give up Queen 2, give up Queen 3. Here we go. Ace Jack. Gonna definitely open up Ace Jack suited. So yeah, let's see what happens. See a call from the big blind. 6, 7, 8 to spades, and our opponent checks to us. Now, in a situation like this, we can't just bet everything. Would be really bad. And this board definitely smashes the big blind's range more than ours. We don't really have many of the hands that could already have a straight or a straight draw or whatever, whereas the big blind could have all the straights really. So I think definitely we should just check back here, since we do actually have showdown value with Ace Jack for sure, and we could improve on some turns. So let's definitely check back here, and we see that we did that. Another 7 on the turn doesn't really change anything. If we were ahead, we're still ahead. If we were behind, we're still behind. So we'll see what our opponent does. We'll go from there. He checks. I think again. There's no reason for us not to check here. I mean, we can't really get value from anything if we bet. I mean, if he possibly has some other kind of ace high that's going to call, but it seems silly to bet for value, so I think checking back for the showdown value is just the best play here. And there's a king on the river. Now, let's see. So we gotta check again. So I think at this point we should just check again. If we think our opponent is someone who really likes to pay off light, we could potentially go for a value bet, get called by worse ace high. But I think it's really thin, and I'm not sure if we're gonna get called anyway by a worse ace. So we should just check here, I think, and we do. And we actually win versus ace 10. So this is one of the few hands he could have that actually could have potentially called if we bet small on the river, like third pot or something. Okay. Let's move on, let's see what happens. So, yeah, we have jammers, we obviously fold with the 5-6, no big deal. Queen 2, probably not gonna play it. No, we're obviously folding here. 10-10, now. Let's see. So we see a jam here from IM pot for 11 blinds. I think at this point there's obviously no discussion. We just have to get in. There's no point for us to call because we can't really fold anyway. If Chris PKR here, if he races over our calls, so I think just jamming here is just the best play for sure, and we do. Fold, fold. Okay, let's run the cards. Turns out that he had Jack 10 and we lose. So that's a bit of a rough start, but I promise it'll get better. We'll end up winning this one after all. So yeah, nothing we can do there. Obviously, we get it in with the best hand. Okay, let's see. So Queen 8's coming up. We're gonna fold here. It's too loose. Now we're actually down pretty short here. This is, let's see. So this is, well, we have 15 blinds. So I think both going all in here or just folding is okay. I think possibly it's better to fold. I'm not sure. I think I remember myself going all in here, but I think it might be on the loose side. I think ace 10 definitely should jam here. King 10's on the edge. But we do go all in. And and we see folds, so that's okay. Ladder up a little, chip up a little bit, I mean. We're not gonna play this one, obviously. Neither are we gonna not play this, yeah. Few bad hands here, let's see it. Not this one either. I don't know, I guess. So this, once again, we're under the gun, 8-handed, I think we are now. Not even 9-handed. With Jack 10, so I mean it is obviously a fold. It's too loose to open this hand here, so we fold it. Get a hand here. Now we see a jam from this guy who's got about as much as we do, like 14-ish big blinds, or something like that. And I think it can be fine, because this guy's gonna probably on the cutoff shove any Broadway cards like Queen Jack, King 10. King Queen, even like 10-9, 9-8, 7-6, these types of hands, suited hands. So we can definitely call, I think, and we do. And it turns out that he had 9-8 hearts, so we take that one down as well. Okay, that's good. So we double up, back in the game. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, we obviously fold to this action here. Yeah, this is going to be nothing as well. Yeah, we're not getting very good hands at the start of the tournament. But I seem to remember this turning around quite shortly here. We'll see. So, Queen 10 here. This is, I think, also a little bit too loose to open. I think this is just a fold. I mean, if we were to open like Queen 10 here and Jack 10 here, it's just too loose, you know. There are too many players behind us who could have a better hand, so we should fold here. Yeah, we do. Okay, here definitely opening 9-9. Yeah, of course. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it goes through, no one. Okay, fine. King 2. Let's see what happens. Limp raise. Yeah, we're gonna fold. Obviously, it's a 4x here from this guy. King 3. Yeah, we're not gonna call the jam or that, so let's just fold. Now a hand. Okay, let's see. So we see a limp. Now this is a little bit interesting, obviously. So generally we don't see so many people doing this limping strategy. We more often see people doing raising or folding pre-flop. So we should definitely, I think, continue here. We're never folding, of course. But the question is, should we raise or should we just call? And I think that with this hand, especially when we're only 20 blinds deep as well, I think it could be pretty nice to have a cheap flop. I mean, if we think that the big or the small blind are super likely to squeeze, maybe we should raise rather, to avoid getting someone who would just be super aggressive towards limps. But I think overall we can just limp here behind on the button. That seems fine. Let's see what I did. I did do that. And we get CF flop. Weird, the small one must have had a really bad hand, obviously, folding to that price. Not the greatest flop. Let's see what happens. Check. Bet 200. Well, this is one of those spots again. Like, this guy bets like between a fourth and a fifth of the pot, so it's a really good odds for us to call. Getting 5.5 to 1 in position with a pair, and he could have nothing. So I think that folding seems a little bit weird. I mean, we could fold, but I think calling's fine. Let's see what happens. We do call, and the other guy folds. Okay, so the other guy actually folds, getting 6.5 to 1. But I mean, if he has nothing, what can he do? Like, if he has 5-4 of diamonds or something, what can he do? Okay, so we see a turn, which is the 9 of spades. Let's see what our opponent does. And once again, he bets 200. We're getting 7.5 to 1. And I think, I mean, do we ever have the best hand? I mean, yeah, we could. I mean, he could easily not have us beat, right? So we should probably call, because we need 12% equity. And I mean, sometimes we're gonna, like 4.5% of the time, we're gonna hit a set. And I mean, there's got to be some times where we're actually ahead here, and we can possibly even bluff him later, because we don't think he's ever really very strong when he makes these one big blind bets. I mean, generally when I see this, I always think that the person doing it is really weak. Probably. I mean, I don't think he's doing this with a jack, right? Seems really weird. So let's see. So we call again. Okay, yeah, that's fine. We could also, I mean, we could also argue for just raising, because I mean, he's probably gonna fold a lot of hands, right? Problem obviously is if we raise pocket threes, then we don't really have that many hands to call with, because we want to call with these like hands that actually have some showdown value, rather than I guess like other hands that don't have showdown value. So it might be better to bluff with hands like a draw or something if we have, or like if we maybe picked up a backdoor flush draw or something, or we had some sort of a straight draw. Okay, so king on the river. He goes ahead and bets 200 again. Now, it's getting a little bit sketchy, I think, to call. I mean, I think we could call for sure, because we're getting 9.5 to 1. Need to be good 10% of the time. I mean, doesn't he ever have some sort of weird hand that just doesn't have anything? I mean, maybe, but I mean, also maybe we want to pay one big blind to see what this guy is up to, right? So we could see. Yeah, so I mean, it seems it's a weird spot because he's playing really weird. Then again, we could also go for the race, of course, because if we think, I mean, what hands could our opponent call a race with here? If we and we don't even have to make it that big, right? Because I mean, if he has just like a 7 or like a 9 or something, he probably folds, right? He should probably fold. I mean, we obviously called twice and then race river. We should probably have something, right? So I don't think there's merit to both of those. I'm not sure. I think actually I seem to remember myself doing quite a bit of racing like this on the river, because I think I played with quite a few people who did this stupid one big blind bet thing. So let's see what I did. Yeah, raised to 1,000. I mean, the thing is, we're laying him pretty good odds, but the thing is, we're counting on him sort of. You know, we're counting on him sort of doing just like a blocker bet kind of thing. Because the thing is, I think if he has a hand that we could have beaten at showdown, if he had like, I don't know, 5-6 or some weird hand, 5-6 of spades, maybe 5-6 of hearts, I don't know. That hand will not play back at us ever when we raise anyway. I don't think so. It doesn't really. We don't really take away our showdown value so much when we raise. But then again, we're hoping for him to fold a 9 or a 7. We don't think if he somehow has a king, which really shouldn't have a king, of course, the way it's played out. Or if he has a jack, obviously he's not gonna fold. But I think this should get a 7 or 9 to fold some of the time. We could have, of course, made it bigger, but then again, I don't know. It's weird. This guy just bets one blind, so it's a little bit of a weird situation. Turns out he calls and he has 9-7. I'm not sure if 9-7 should have called the river race there, but obviously he won the pot, so hey, that's got to be fine, I guess. But I mean, it's a little bit weird. So I don't. Maybe we misplayed the hand slightly. I'm not sure what at what point we could have never really folded. I don't think so. I don't know. It's a little bit. It's weird when you don't see this so often. The people who do these one blind bets, they're quite odd, I have to say. But let's move on. That's fine. 8-3. We're obviously gonna fold. Queen 9 here. Let's see it. So we have 12 blinds with Queen 9 suited. So for me, 3 people fold before us. I mean, this to me. We're in the, let's see, yeah, we're in the low jack, so we should definitely jam it in here, I think. And we do. Let's see, it gets through. Okay, so yeah, let's see the next hand. Fold obviously 9-6 off. So I'm gonna fold 6-5 off as well. 10-3 gonna fold. 6-2. Okay, let's see it. So now we have an interesting spot, obviously. We can't check in the big line if he wants to with the 6-2 of spades. The thing is, this hand could be pretty good to raise here as a bluff, because we don't really have that much chips, right? We have like 14, 15-ish big blinds with one already in, right? And these guys probably don't have very, because now I don't have the HUD steps up, but I'm pretty sure that Jadim here, who we played the last hand with, had been limping something like 60 or 70% of hands or something. So I think that the limping range that he had was super wide. And the guy on the button probably has a pretty wide range as well, considering that. And then the small blind guy, obviously, with a great price. So I'm not sure if I raise or check here, But I think jamming here couldn't be bad, right? Just picking up those 1,000 chips. We only have 2.6k, right? So it's a big portion of our stack already in the middle. Yeah, we did actually get a jam here, and it got through. So, I mean, for hands to jam, I think 6-2 suited. It's okay. I mean, it doesn't really matter what we have because we don't expect to really ever get called. I mean, unless Jadim obviously has like good hand, we don't really expect to be called because the other two are never calling pretty much. Their range is really weak probably. Okay, so a6. Limp. All right. Yeah. So I mean, this is. Yeah, I think it's a fold. I mean, if this guy raised, we obviously would have folded. So I think it's the same thing here. I don't know, especially when we have less than 20 blinds like this. We just made a play at this guy, so I think it's fine to just let it go here. Yeah. So let's see, King Queen suited. This is a good hand. Now it comes around to me, obviously. With our stack size, we have way under. We have like 15 blinds. I'm definitely thinking that we're jamming here. We are, which is good. We get no call. We actually are not really getting called on our jams, it seems, which is okay. Let's see here. We're obviously gonna fold 9-5. 3-4 is also gonna be a fold. Jack 3 is gonna be a fold. So a lot of folding early on. Now we come with the big guns here. Pocket aces. Okay, so we're obviously gonna want to get it in here. The question for us is here, since I mean we could open jam or we could min raise. I think both are fine, but it's a little bit like almost like looks weaker to just go all in, right? Because if we had ace jack here, we would never min raise, right? With this stack, I don't think we would, because we only have 16 big blinds, right? So I think we should just jam here. And we don't. We min raise off of 16 blinds. I mean, it's not bad, but it's a little bit typical, and I think this looks super strong. It screams like I have aces. Not that necessarily any of these people figure this out, but maybe they should. So we'll see what happens. See a call from the small blind, call from the big blind. Okay. And those two guys. He bets out. Okay, so this guy bets out here, which is odd, and it's also to a very small size. But as we remember, this guy did this before, right? So I don't know. I don't want him to draw for free here, obviously, because this is a very scary board. Even though we block the ace-high flush draw, but overall, I mean, there are many straight and flush draws. So I think raising is the play here. But there's already 2,000 in the middle, and I think that if he has anything legitimate, he's gonna call it off probably, since this guy's big stack and very like loose passive kind of player. So I think just getting it in here seems like a good idea. We jam, he calls it off. This is a run out, and he shows Jack 6. I mean, why he called with Jack 6 in the small blind, I don't know. But yeah, we get a full double up there, so that's pretty great. We get 10-8 suited here in the big blind. See a jam from under the gun, so we're gonna have to let it go. Now ace king. I'm thinking I'm gonna do each part will be 50 hands, and I'm at 41 hands right now, so I'm gonna do a couple more, and then we'll sort of wrap this one up. So we see cutoff, opening, turn. Limping. It's just the same limper guy. Fold. We obviously want to raise here. I think we can pretty much just pot it here. It doesn't exactly matter. 1.5k. That is pretty big size. But since we have seen Jadim to call off quite a bit, I think it's fine to go for this sizing here. Big blind folds, and this guy folds also. Okay, so we pick up some chips for the ace king. 10-8 suited, let's see what happens. So is it jam, so we're probably gonna have to let go of our hand. Yeah. Unfortunate. 7-7, let's see. So we see him limp once again. Again and limp. Now, this is also interesting spot then. We can obviously limp or we can raise. And I think again, I mean, these pairs here and some certain suited connectors, they play really well as a limp because in this like pretty weak lineup, sort of weak passive lineup, no one's gonna raise us very often, so it makes a lot of sense to try and set mine sort of thing. And it's a cheap set mine because it's half the price since it's only a limp and not a raise, right? And we don't mind going multi-way with a hand like 7-7. It plays great multi-way, right? Because I mean, if we hit a set, we might and someone else picks up some piece, you know, that's gonna be awesome. So let's see it. So we limp, see a limp, and again small blind folds here. It's a little bit odd, but I mean, if he had horrible hand, I suppose. And so yeah, so we see a flop of 8-7-3. So we obviously have basically the nuts here. I mean, 8-8. I mean, that's just being dealt a game over at that point. There's nothing we can do about it if we're not ahead on this flop. So let's see it. So it checks around to us. We're obviously gonna bet. Someone is bound to have some sort of a piece, I think. So yeah, we're gonna go for a bet here. I don't know. I mean, I guess I haven't really talked about sizing, so I think this is a good time to mention this. So on this type of board, I would lean towards a little bit of smaller size, I guess. Just because the board is not very draw heavy. I mean, there's a straight draw out there, but that's just about it, right? And you need to have exactly 5-6 or something like that, or 10-9 or whatever, right? I mean, there are a few straight draws, but not that much, right? So I think we can go for a pretty small size here. And we don't really have to try and scare the draws away or give them the wrong price or whatever. So we're gonna go for a size. Yeah, it's a little under half pot. Seems about right. Okay, so it goes fold, fold. And this guy calls here, which we love, and we want to play with this player because not only do they have a lot of chips, the only one player actually who covered us before the hand started, which is great since this player actually seems to be willing to sort of call off things or at least get money in the middle. So we see a turn of a deuce of clubs, which is one of the better turns. I mean, there's nothing gets there. Nothing changes. If he has pocket eights, I mean, we're toast still, but that's the only chance, right? So wow, okay. Yeah, so this is pretty interesting. On the turn, he decides to go for an overbet. There's 3k in the pot. He goes 3.75 thousand. I mean, I don't know what that is. But I think at this point there's 7k in the pot almost. We have 8k behind and we have to call, obviously. So I mean, we should just go all in. It's just a min race for us to go all in pretty much. So there's really no reason for us to do anything else. With sevens here, there's just nothing. I mean, if he's totally bluffing, it doesn't really matter. We're just gonna go all in. There's no point in anything. So we do, yeah, we just click it back, but it's a virtual all in. We obviously leave ourselves only 700, so it's the same thing as going all in here. He ends up calling, and we see the river. That is obviously we would have seen either way. He's obviously gonna put in the last bit, and we're obviously gonna call. We have basically the nuts, and we call, and he shows 10-3, which is just it's a spew of epic proportions. I have no idea why on the turn 2 of clubs, why he would ever lead out like that with more than pot, and he has a bottom pair. Well, it's not bottom anymore on the turn, I guess. It's second from the bottom. But it's just incredible spew. And then calling off the race and I don't know. I mean, obviously, if you tag players and take notes of players, this is the kind of stuff you should write down. I'm sure that I have tagged this as a fun player or a recreational player or a fish or whatever you want to call it. This is really, really. I mean, it's just wow. It's just a donation to me, really. But this now this is really great because now I have a really, really big stack, so I can try and sort of bully the table as we're gonna move towards the bubble later on, which is gonna be really interesting. Okay, so let's move on. 4-8 suited. Yeah, I think we're gonna give this one up. Yeah, it's a little bit too loose to go in there. So we're gonna give this one up as well. So this hand, I think when we are the big stack like this, and I think this hand is on the edge, I mean, Queen 9 I think you can open here. I think Queen 8 is... Queen 8 suited is a little bit too loose, but I think with our big stack, it might be okay. I'm not sure which I do, but I think that... in general, I think this is a fold, but I think it's fine to open as well. We do open. I do love me some suited connectors. So let's see what happens. We see a call from the guy we want to play with for sure, so that's good. We flop top pair and I gut shot. I think we can bet for value. I mean, this guy is obviously shown to be very, very prone to calling off light, so we definitely can call it off. Not starting to call it off, but we can definitely bet for value for sure. So I think we should, and I think we should use a little bit bigger sizing here because this board is very coordinated. Any jack has an open ender. There's a flush draw out there or anything, so I definitely think that we should bet something in the maybe 1.2k, something like that would be a probably appropriate sizing. Oh, we choose. Okay, yeah. I mean, I like that we bet, but I think that we should probably have bet a little bit bigger because of all the draws on the board. It's a very draw-heavy board. Yeah, and he just folds. Okay, well, it worked out either way. He wouldn't have called a bigger bet. Alright, so next up, second to last hand then. Let's see what happens. Limp, 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 check. Oh, yeah. So this is a hand I think we just check. I mean, not a particularly great one. I mean, we see a flop, whatever. And there's a bunch of sevens on the flop. We're obviously going to check. We're going to check just about every hand we have here. And they're going to check around, actually. There's a 2. We're just going to check again. We're not going to get involved here. There's no point for us to fight about it. We're just going to fold, yeah. Okay, so the last time is going to be 8-7 suited in the small blind. So this guy limps, this guy limps, this guy calls. Okay, so the thing is here, generally I would like us to raise such a hand as this one. But the problem is that we have this Vic Bog guy who just limped off of a 12 big blind stack. And yeah, I don't know. I just it seems like he might be the kind of, he could definitely be like you know, I'm going all in if I re-raise now. So it seems like an okay spot to just see a cheap flop, and we choose to do that. Big blind checks. Unfortunately, we flop nothing, so we're gonna check. We would have checked with all of our hands pretty much, but yeah. Let's see what happens. It goes checks around. Okay, now so this is obviously an interesting turn for us. It is the 5 of diamonds, so we have now got a flush draw. I think we can go either way here, but I would probably want to say bet because I think that it's good to thin the field a little bit here if we can. Not that anyone's gonna fold like no one's gonna fold a queen or a jack here, but if someone has something like pocket 4s, we're probably gonna fold, and we're behind that hand, right? So I definitely think it's okay for us to bet, even though we're multi-way, and we're not really that likely to be raised by anyone. I mean, it could happen, but it's really not that likely. It seems weird. Like, what hand would someone raise at this point, right? I mean, yeah, it seems a little bit odd for anybody here to be raising now. We'll do it. We'll see. We're betting here. We get a fold. We get a fold. And yeah, you're right. Okay, I remember this one now. This is going to be unfortunate for this guy. So yeah, so I'm going to spoil it a little bit. This guy has pocket 5s, I think. So he has a set. But the thing is, he chooses for some reason to click it back to me. So he's giving me 5.27 to 1. So I need 16% equity to make this call. And I mean, I pretty much just have that straight up with just my flush draw. So I mean, this is just fine. We can just call. If he would have jammed or whatever, which he should have done probably, or he should actually 100% have done that, we would have folded. But at this price, we're just going to call. And luckily for us, we are going to make a flush on the river, and I think we go all in now. Because why not, right? We have a flush. Yeah. We go all in. In fact, we don't go all in. Well, we don't. Actually, he could save 50 chips. But he goes all in, so yeah. I think we just misclicked or something when we tried to get the numbers there because we didn't get enough, but we still got it all. And yeah, he had pocket 5. So it made sense that he raised on the turn since he turned a set, but he should have gone all in on the turn, of course. Okay, so that's 50 hands. This is going to be part 1. love any input on this, and I'll be back for part 2.